Hi, my name's Becky from Reference Services. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Also, welcome to all of you out there who are live streaming this event. Before we get started, I'd like for you to take note of the table at the back of the room that has feedback forms. We'd appreciate any of you that would take a moment to fill one out. It helps us plan for future events. So today we're going to learn about many of the activities and places in the book 100 Things in Bentonville, Rogers to Do Before You Die. Please help me welcome author Connie Cottingham. She's coming.
Okay, hello, all of you. Thank you very much for having me here. I appreciate it. And I love talking about Bentonville and Rogers. And this book has been just a delight to read. To write. What I'm going to do is talk a little about who I am and how and why I wrote the book, how I did the research, and then get to know you a little better and what you're looking for, and go through a few itineraries. And then we'll have time to do, a few trivia questions about the area to see if you know, and then just learn a little bit about the area, and then Q&A. Honestly, it's a small group. If you have a question, don't hesitate to shout out. So, okay, thank you. And I will go ahead and get going. This book, luckily, it's on Kindle, it's on your phone, you can buy it in a lot of different places online as well as local stores. It came out last fall, and what it is basically part of the 100 Things series, where I pretty much followed a template. So friends of mine have written other books in this series, and they said, you really need to do Northwest Arkansas. And at first I backed away because I found Arkansas thinks Northwest Arkansas includes Eureka Springs and Fort Smith, and it's just like, that's a big area to cover. So I talked to the owner of Reedy Press, and told him that maybe the four-county area would be a better one. And he said, well, actually, we have someone working on Fayetteville now, and that'll be printed soon, and it has been printed. And that was a relief. He goes, I'd love for you to do Bentonville. And I said, well, Bentonville and Rogers. Bentonville and Rogers. Bentonville's getting a lot of press nationwide, a lot of press. But it's a seamless, where they come together is pretty much seamless. And you can pretty much say it's I-49, but it's not really. But I had to do like a dissertation on why we need to include Rogers too, and I firmly believe that. I also grew up in Rogers. I'm pretty loyal to it, and I know it has a lot to offer. So Bentonville and Rogers complement each other. They're very different towns. I had someone tell me Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, they're all the same. And it's like, oh, absolutely not. Those are four different personalities. And people are usually where they want to be because it matches their personality. So anyway, once I got the contract, Reedy Press had a pretty good template to follow because they've done dozens and dozens of these. So it's basically 150 to 130, 150 words on every destination. And I could combine destinations, like the Friends of the Library bookstore and the bookstores, I can combine together. So downtown Rogers, downtown Bentonville, downtown Rogers and 8th Street Market in Bentonville both have amazing bookstores, and downtown Bentonville has one once upon a time. And, but I can combine that into one of the items. So, that was easy. That was fun to do. I got to decide what the 100 things were, and no two people would have picked the same 100 things, and how to combine them. And they would edit and say, let's do this one as a sidebar and focus on that one. Nobody paid to get into it. Nobody really knew they were getting into it, or very few, a small percentage actually knew they were getting into the book. A couple are no-brainers, but something like 2 I can think of. Crystal Bridges, duh. Of course you're going to go to Crystal Bridges, but I pointed out a few don't miss things at Crystal Bridges. If you're going, make sure you take a look at the tours that are available, etc. Mountain biking, that's another one. And that is one that I'm not that familiar with. And I actually did rent a mountain bike, signed up for a class, went out to Kohler Park, got on the mountain bike, drove around on the grass with everyone else, or rode around on the grass with everyone else, and I was getting exhausted. And this 20-something leaned over and said, well, no wonder that you're so exhausted. You're in the completely wrong gear. You have been working like a dog. We need to switch you to granny gear. So, for a second there, I hated every mountain biker and every mountain bike, but that was only 1 second. I got back on track. So anyway, I never actually made it to a trail. I got to asphalt and left it at that. So for mountain biking, I give you suggestions on where to start looking for information, because there are thousands of people who know about mountain biking. They can help you out. When I was talking to people about this, okay. What about enter? There we go. I was talking to people in other states about this when I was going to travel writing conferences. And the 3 things that came to mind when I said Northwest Arkansas and Bentonville Rogers was Crystal Bridges, of course, mountain biking, of course, and number 3 was Fixer to Fabulous. And this is the store that just opened in downtown Bentonville, right off the square. And I was there yesterday, and they are really a force in Bentonville. There is Dave and Jenny Mars? Anyway, there's like a full-size cutout at the Visit Bentonville office so that you can get a selfie with them. There are people that walk into the store and you can overhear that they're headed to Magnolia after that, and then maybe Southern Missouri to get another HGTV show. There are people going around the country checking out these HGTV couples. And it's very popular, very lucrative, but they work hard for it too. So that was a surprise. Walmart came up maybe once. When I was growing up, that's almost all we were known for. So that was a surprise. So what my job is, there we go. Every one of these is basically just enough to get you to the website and then out the door. That's what I'm hoping for. If you go to a half dozen of these, it's a major win. If you find some that appeal to you and you want to check out, that's a major win. This would be a great book to have on in the guest bedroom coffee table. Or the Airbnb. I've heard people talk about Airbnbs. We had one realtor buy just a case of them to hand out with their new houses. So that was fun too. But it is just a way to just inspire you to find out more and then go see. And please do check the websites, because this was, even months, things change. A couple things have closed. Right as this was going to press, the tornado hit Rogers. And it's like, stop the presses, we've got to make a change. And the only change I knew of was Susie Q, which is, I've been going to since it opened on the year I was born. And I've been going to since before I remember. So, so something else slipped in its place. It's hard to find something else when the whole county is out of power and nobody's open. Because this 80-20 rule, the first 80 aren't that hard, and then the last 20 are like a little bit harder. So anyway, that's the goal, to get you to buy the book and then go discover the places. So I am going to find out a little bit about you all. I've got 4 slides here with just pictures, and if any of them sing to you, speak out and say why. And I'm just going to spend a couple seconds on each one, and I can go back if you want to. Let's see if we can go back. So is there anything that is like, ooh, tell me more? And it really is just the pictures. It's not specific. I mean, museums, shopping, major events, things like that. Oh, dear.
That Bill Jones thing. Hey, Jones, is he an architect?
Yes.
Okay, was that his house?
No, I'll tell you about that. That's one of the itineraries. So we'll talk about that. That is the middle one there. That is a majestic structure, and it's cool, and it's easy to see and worth a trip. Also, I'm just going to put a plug in for Huntsville. The Faubus House, if you have not toured that, it is well worth it, by the same architect. And let me talk about Faye Jones for a second, because I'm about to go into something else. But
Hey, you said his other house, there's not one in Fayetteville now, is there?
there is, but it's rarely open for a tour. He has actually 54 still standing structures in Northwest Arkansas, and I think 132 total. He was, he's one of the top architects of the 20th century. I think born in Pine Bluff, but he was head of the School of Architecture here, worked here a lot. You'll see there's a lot of homes. I went on a Faye Jones home tour of Fayetteville this spring, and half the people on the tour were people who owned Faye Jones home. One came from Mississippi, one couple came from Tulsa, one from Springfield. But Thorncrown Chapel in Eureka Springs is by Faye Jones, and it was listed as the number 4 building of the 20th century by the American Institute of Architects. This isn't a USA Today poll. This was, someone who really was his peers.
Is this the house that they moved to Crystal Bridges?
No, that is Frank Lloyd Wright. And he was a friend and a coworker of, not coworker, he's a friend of Faye Jones. What happened is Faye Jones is younger. Faye Jones attended the ceremony where Frank Lloyd Wright got an AIA medal, which is something that's only, I could talk about Faye Jones for half an hour. I'll cut it down pretty soon. It's only given once a year if it's given. Several years it's not. And only to one person or one entity. So Frank Lloyd Wright, I think, got 1949. And Faye Jones was still a young, very young architect at that time. And he met Frank Lloyd Wright at that time. And then Faye Jones ended up getting one of those medals in the 1990s. So they were friends, but they were different generations. Okay, I could do a whole talk on that. Okay. Well, if that's all anyone wants to talk about, we'll just.
Tacos and tamales, we have one here now.
Oh, really?
Yes, is it the same? We do have a taco and tamale here now.
I don't know if it is. This one is actually on the Bentonville Square in an old bank. And if you have 4 to 6 people, you can rent the bank vault to have, they don't close the door on you, but you have to be 4 to 6 people. And so it's a cool little special place for a gathering that you can just reserve. And and they have a really nice like late afternoon happy hour. So if I'm on the square, that's a good place to just chill out.
And you mentioned it in the book, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that, and that would be a great place for kids. So, yeah, and also downtown Bentonville and downtown Rogers both have a really great, unique, locally owned pet store. So if you're really in, mainly catering to dogs, one has a dog wash station, one has a bakery case with the most amazing treats for dogs. And make sure you tell your family it's dog treats or they'll eat it. It's that great looking. Okay, we're going to go down. Okay, we're going to go down. All right. And then here. Okay, I'm going to do 3 itineraries. Slideshow. Huh. I'm not getting it to do a slideshow. Maybe not. Use. Yeah. Current slide. I did. Unchecked use presenter view.
I think it's already in.
It's not actually. Oh, that's it. I went. Okay.
I think it's already on the slideshow.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay. So we're back to art and architecture. Okay. Funny story. I came up with these this morning. So I wrote all these, and then I handed it over to ChatGPT and said, do a nice slide. So you're going to see some comical things that ChatGPT thought was brilliant. So if you see something and go, what? Or that's what's going on. But I did write this part, and so that's what I'm going to go from. And so basically, it's 3 different itineraries that we're going to go through. One is art and architecture. One is for your inner child, and one is to bring kids with you. Now, you can go just your inner child for the kids one, you can bring kids for the inner child one. But if you just want summer camp for a day and run away, then that's number 2. So we're going to start with art and architecture, and what I've got is morning, lunch, afternoon, dinner. Everything starts with a coffee shop, of course. So for the architecture, I would suggest, how many of you have been to Bentonville or are familiar with Bentonville and Rogers? Pretty much. Okay. You're going to be familiar with a lot of these. A lot of these you can find in the book. And also, if you want the itinerary the way I wrote it, I am happy to email it to you. So just email and ask for it, and I'll be happy to send you, like this is one page of it. So I'm happy to send that so you don't have to take notes or anything. So to do art and architecture in the morning, I would start with coffee in the first floor of the Ledger Building, which is the world's first bikeable building. You have bike ramps going up the sides of the Ledger Building. It's 6 stories high. And there's a couple cool art things in the Ledger Building. And one is, in the middle of the coffee shop is a steel tree that is, there's some information about it. If you ask for it, they can show you where it is. But it's this life-size tree that the baristas are working around. And you get a great cup of coffee. There's places where you can go work. It's a great getaway place if you are looking for an escape. They even have like phone booth rooms where you can make personal phone calls on your cell phone or just have quiet time. But another thing about the art is the concrete around the Ledger Building and up the ramps include these amazing insects, and they might be like this big. And they're beautiful, and they're based on real insects. Inside the Ledger Building, there is a whole wall about this big explaining the design, the construction, the process, how it was all done. So to just see them on the ground is one thing. To understand everything behind it, you just hold your cup of coffee and go down the wall. It's really fascinating. So that would be a great start. Then you can get in the car and go to the Peel Mansion and Botanical Garden. Technically, a botanical garden means that you are doing research and teaching. So I'm not sure what they're doing. I do know they have like historic fruit trees. Arkansas Black is from that area. Arkansas Black apple. But the Peel Mansion, or Peel, we used to call it the Peel Mansion growing up, is a late 1800s home. You can take a tour and see the inside of the house. And then when you go out, you're going out the gift shop, which is a antebellum cabin that was moved from somewhere else in Benton County. So it wasn't far away, so you can see 2 extremes of about the same period of time of, richer people and then people who were making it in the cabin. From there, I would go ahead north to Bella Vista and go to the Cooper Chapel. And Cooper Chapel, you need to make sure it's open. I don't know if they post on their website or not. I think they're pretty good about it. But if there's a wedding going on, they're not going to let you in. Or if there's a wedding they're getting ready for one. So they do rent it out. So, that helps support it. You can't blame them for that. So just make sure that you can get into it. But it is, you can see a lot of the Thorn Crown Chapel in there. So that is really interesting. Then you can go to, remember that Ife Jones structure that you saw? That is actually the Bella Vista Country Club. And all the Bella Vista country clubs, the dining areas are open to the public. It used to be you had to be a member to be there. Right off of that, that's an area you walk through as you go down to the restaurant. You can have a hamburger in a Fay Jones structure overlooking the golf course, which is kind of an architectural experience you really need to have. That's, easy one to do. They also have great desserts. So I would go to the BV Bar and Grill. And Bella Vista Country Club is only a couple miles at most from Cooper Chapel. So once you hit those two locations, you can head back to Crystal Bridges. And we all know Crystal Bridges has architecture, but it is getting it more so. So we have Crystal Bridges, which has the wonderful design by Moshe Sadeh, or I should have looked it up right before, who is another AIA gold medal winner and another Arkansan, the only other Arkansan to have gotten that award. But now, this spring, they opened up the Whole Health Wellness Center, Whole Health Institute, and the bottom floor of that has a little coffee shop and a lot of art, and so you can go and walk through that. It is designed by the same person who designed the gift shop, redesigned the gift shop in Crystal Bridges. And if you go into the Crystal Bridges gift shop and look up, you can see that you are looking at the ribs of a mushroom. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You never notice it until you've heard about it. Excuse me. Okay, well. Also, the Frank Lloyd Wright House there. Make sure you do, the tour is minimal cost, but you really do need to have reservations just to make sure you get into it. And it is a lead tour, well worth it. It's a Usonian house, which is much more, it's like for the people. So you can see that with the concrete floors, but you can see a lot of the the Frank Lloyd Wright type designs. It's the only Frank Lloyd Wright structure in Arkansas and was actually moved from Pennsylvania. By the way, next week after next, I'll be spending 2 nights in the last Frank Lloyd Wright hotel in existence in northern Iowa. It's really an amazing city to see if you love architecture and love that kind of architecture. And it's an affordable hotel. It's really wonderful. So I would give yourself at least 2 to 4 hours on the Crystal Bridges campus if you love that. Another thing is that the AWESOME, which is Alice Walton School of Medicine, is open to students now. They're in class. And so the first classes have been vetted. The people have shown up. And I think the first 4 classes have their tuition paid for. So these are people who are going through a medical school plus art, community service, alternative medicine. So they're getting a broad education. So in November, AWESOME will open up for the cafe and for us to go in. It has a 2.5-acre roof garden, which I can't wait to see.
That's in the Whole Health Institute.
No, that's in the med school. So these are 3 different buildings. So you walk in between them. The School of Medicine is very close to the parking garage. And right now, there's so much fencing around it, you really can barely see it, but it's getting there. Then from there, I would walk. You could drive. Actually, I would drive because I've got 2 things downtown. I would go downtown, And 21C has amazing art exhibit. It's only the second 21C to be built. I think the first one is in Lexington, Kentucky. And it has modern art in it, but it also has a bar called The Hive with bees around, big bee and everything. They have fantastic French fries. I don't know what, I honestly don't know what ChatGPT is telling you, but anyway. And then you can stroll downtown square, which has architecture typical of a downtown square in northwest Arkansas. For dinner, Preacher's Son is in the oldest church in Bentonville. It's 1904, and the stained glass windows have been replaced by windows designed by George Dombeck. And he is not Fayetteville, I guess Goshen, very close to Fayetteville artist, and quite well known now. So it's really fun. Preacher's Son, I have never eaten at. It is very, very pricey. You have to have reservations. But Undercroft is a fun speakeasy downstairs. So it's like this hidden speakeasy vibe. And you can get to it from outside, but you can also go to the front desk of the restaurant and say, I want to go downstairs, and they'll walk you right through the restaurant, and you can see the architecture, and they get a much less expensive drink and go home. If you've got the money, more power to you. Enjoy. I hear it's wonderful. So that gets you all through dinner. So that gets you through the art and architecture. Any questions about that? But that's one day, and you really can kind of give and take from all of these. The next one is, my title was Bring Your Toys, the camera and the sketchbook with you, and let your inner child play. This is all in Bentonville. And this is also geared towards moving the car as little as possible. Because I hate to pop from one place to another and just keep moving from parking lot to parking lot. So for the morning, tell me if you see it change. Enter. Oh.
Do you have to hit one of the keys to make a change?
Yeah, and I don't know what that is.
Use the arrows to.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is to just let your muse play and just feel no guilt. I've gotten to the point, especially after writing this book, where I feel very comfortable just going on my own and having lunch by myself or dinner by myself or going places. And now I can do a 2,000-mile road trip by myself, and it's very comfortable. I would love it if everybody felt that comfortable, because I've had friends who were just like, well, I don't have my husband anymore, so I don't do anything. And it's like, no, girl. Okay. So anyway, what I would do is park at the Momentary and then walk down to the Meteor. The Meteor is part coffee shop, part wine store, part bike shop on the Razorback Greenway. And it's just kind of quirky and different and fun, and they have fantastic coffee. And so I'd have coffee there, and then on your walk back to go to the Momentary, you're passing right by the Visit Bentonville office. So it is always smart to go to a tourism office in a new town. I find too, when you've been driving, it's free parking to get your bearings. And then you can go and they will tell you what's going on. They will tell you, hey, something's happening in this part of town. You really want to avoid it this weekend. Or this road is closed. Or you really have to see this before it goes away. Or, oh, if you're interested in this, let me tell you about that. These people want you to have a good time. So it's worth your time to step in there and talk to them, and you start planning your next visit. The momentary, I used to think the momentary was modern art, and it is, but it's really art of the moment. So they do cooking, and they do music, and they do like art, what's that called? Performance art and things like that. So it's really fun to see their exhibits. And their gift shop is a hoot. I love their gift shop. It's one of my favorites. So if you have a creative bone in your body, it will be fun to go there. So once you've seen the momentary, then head off to Osage Park. Only the main parking lot of Osage Park, I would do the parking lot that is over by Louise and the playground equipment, which is off of I Street. So Google may send you to the other parking lot. I would go ahead, I would tell Google to take me to Louise, which is the restaurant. And then you can walk in Osage Park. They've got paved trails that are going through different habitats with signage. They've got Lake Bentonville, which is really not much bigger than a pond, but it is a nice little lake, and they do rent like kayaks and fishing poles. You'll see people fishing there. They have pickleball courts. They have a dog park. They have an archery range, and that someone will be happy to show you how to use it. If you want to, you just rent by the hour, and they will give you the bow and arrow and some instruction. I love it. And then also pull out that camera or sketchbook. If you go there during the golden hour, about twilight, you'll see a lot of professional photographers taking family photos. So don't forget to, take photos if you're with someone.
Is that Osage Park, is that where they have the, some of the walkways are like elevated, or they're over water?
Yeah.
Is that where it is?
Yeah, it's a bit of a, and you can see it from 14th Street, I believe. But,
I've ridden through there on a bike, so.
okay. Yeah, it's not one that's easy to see for most routes that you take, but it's worth stopping at and going to. It also butts up right next to the airport, the municipal airport, not XNA. So it's where the small planes go. And there is a restaurant there called Louise, named after Louise Thaden, who is a major force in early aviation history. And so anyway, it's in, I'm going to call it the hangar. It has, sometimes it's got planes or helicopters in it to look at, or toys for kids. It's got a fun gift shop if you like anything planes. And then the restaurant is excellent too. And from the restaurant, there's outdoor dining and indoor dining, both look out on planes. This restaurant is also geared towards fly in, have lunch, and fly. And people with planes do that. Let's fly over to Bentonville for lunch. And so some of the people are coming in from the planes, and some people are coming in from the cars, others bikes. But it is a fun place to go to. And then from there, you're right back with your car because you parked right there. I would go to Best Friends Pet Resource Center. How many people have been to that? Yeah, okay. Best Friends is part of something based in Utah, which is a no-kill shelter. I took a behind-the-scenes tour, and they are quite the pros. they bring in pets from shelters that have high kill rates to take some of the pressure off them. They also send out consultants to help them deal with, with the people, with the animals they have. But you can go in there as a visitor and you can, they have a vegan coffee shop, so no milk for me, but they have, very good coffee shop. They have a bar at the coffee shop with little holes in it, and they have little toys, and the kitten room is on the other side. So you sit there and have coffee and play with the kittens. There's no problem with walking into the kitten room. They also have the cat room downstairs, and they have a slide to get downstairs as well as seating and stairs. They have the dogs and the dog run. And a friend of mine just finished a mural on the dog run that just is being unveiled. And you can actually rent a dog for the day. So if you're here from out of town and you just want to get away with dog, you can. If you want to work at the coffee shop, they have a couple dogs in pens. And if you want to take a dog home, they're happy to work with you too. So, or a cat. But it is a fun place to be. And then from there, I would drive to 8th Street Market, which is right back close to Momentary. And there are 3 stores that are good for your soul. Hill Folk is a very creative place. We're talking quilting and knitting and different crafts and handmade goods and stationery, and it's just fun. Next to it is Two Friends Books, and they are wonderful. And then next to that is an award-winning chocolatier. So you can get, inspired and a new book and some chocolates. And they're all 3 just side by side. And then nearby is a hotel rooftop bar that's right on the edge of the new Walmart headquarter campus. So you overlook the new campus as you're having some munchies and a drink. So that's number 2. That's like adult play. And it would be easy to adapt with kids. The other one, Arrow, oops, I'm sorry, I added one while I was fussing around. Is East Rogers, because we got to get Rogers in this, of course. And one thing that surprised me was how much was going on in East Rogers and east of Rogers to Beaver Lake, because Rogers technically sees itself as all the way to the shores of Beaver Lake. So there's a lot of people that live out there on the lake, a lot going on out there. But I would start with Onyx Coffee, which is in a something like an 1890 so building in downtown Rogers, and used to be like a junk store when I was a kid. We would always rummage through it. It was kind of like a Dollar Tree before Dollar Trees existed. Now it is all renovated, and it includes Onyx Coffee inside. This is the number 2 coffee shop in the world, number 1 in the country. And again, it's not USA Today kind of poll. It is a coffee organization. They had to go to Europe to accept the prize. So this was a big deal. And so you could, if you have out-of-town guests, you can take them there and say, and of course they'll be like, but anyway. But right beside it is a park that has benches and play equipment and splash pad. And so you can take your coffee there and sit, and the kids can run, or you can just go for a little bit of a walk before you get going. And then I would head out east on I-12 and go to Hobbs State Park Conservation Area. Right beside the visitor center, which has wonderful, informative, educational exhibits about animals and Beaver Lake, is a paved path, which is great if you've got a stroller or something like that, or if you don't want to, you'll be doing a lot of walking that day. So if you don't want to do major hiking, there's also a million kinds of trails, including mountain bike and horse trails. Hobbs Mountain is huge, and or Hobbs State Park. I keep wanting to throw mountain in it. Hobbs State Park is huge and it has a lot of trails. So just check it out. They often have activities and people to lead bird talks or hands-on things or walks around. So that would be fun to find. For lunch, there's two different places that are very much casual and very comfort food oriented. We're talking fried chicken, mac and cheese type of comfort food, biscuits, that kind of comfort food. War Eagle Mill is 100 years old, and it has lunch there as well as a gift shop, and it has the mill to look and learn. And Jacqueline's Kitchen is a really nice little restaurant. It's in like a strip mall. It doesn't look like much, but it's worth walking into. So that's worth it. So after lunch, you can go to War Eagle Cavern, which is only open during warmer months. And they do take very few people in a group to go through a cave tour. So you want to make sure, if you want to do that, that you call ahead and make sure you can get on the tour. Another great gift shop. And then after you've gone to War Eagle Cavern, I would head to Pinnacle Hills, which one thing about Pinnacle Hills is you can get dinner there. So you can also split up. Like if you have a 15-year-old that wants to take off and meet you back at a certain time, you're okay with that. They also have a theater. When I was a kid, my brilliant mother would take us all to Fayetteville Square, and we would go to the theater, and we would see cartoons and then Mary Poppins or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or something like that. And she would drop us off, and then she'd be waiting outside when the movie was over, much more relaxed, much more happy, you know, and it's like she had her time and they had we had our time. But Pinnacle Hills has a Lego store. They've got like Williams-Sonoma, so you can take care of a lot of different tastes at the same time, or you can just go ahead and go to dinner at Pinnacle Hills. And there's a lot of places to eat. It's not Pinnacle, it's like Promenade, the Promenade. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, that big shopping area. There's a lot of places you can have dinner there, but I would go to the Artisan Wood-Fired Kitchen because they have pizza and flatbread, they have wine, they have s'mores at the tableside s'mores that you make yourself. They have a patio outside. And if you want to get there early and have appetizers, and then while people are saying, oh, I'm just going to run right over to here and I'll be back, then that's fine. It's just one of those places where you can kind of split up, chill, or go do more depending on the personalities involved. So that is the third one. Oh, no, that's only the second one. Oh, it is the third one. Okay, thank you. So if you're interested in these, just email me. My email's on the card that you can get back at the table, and I'm happy to send them to you. This is kind of a draft I did this morning, and it was really fun to come up with some. There are also itineraries in the back too, where it's like things to do, first things to do according to the season, and then things to do on a date night or for history buffs or for nature buffs. And so it lists some things to look at in the book too. Okay, we're at 2:49. Do you have any questions? Do you want to go ahead and go to, Or do you want to try a couple trivia questions? Okay, I'm sorry, I have to go back and get the trivia questions. Ooh. Out of my bag. It'll take 15 seconds. When I'm in Rogers and Bentonville, these trivia questions are usually what I do instead of PowerPoint, because so many people are familiar with what's there. So we can talk about that. Okay. They're not there, so I'll just go from memory for a couple of them. Okay. Where was the first airport in Benton County?
Fayette. Oh,
It may have been before Fayetteville even. Actually, the first airport, remember Louis Thaden was here. This was also a period of time when Wichita was a major booming airport because it had a lot of aircraft industry, but also there was no coast-to-coast flight because the fuel tanks couldn't get you coast to coast. So when Louise Thaden got her license, which was signed by Orville Wright, I believe, and flew home, she had to land in a golf course in Bella Vista. Within a couple years, that golf course clubhouse was also the airport headquarters, and there were flights going to Dallas, Tulsa, Kansas City, St. Louis, regular flights coming out of, it could have been a grass strip. The Bella Vista Museum is actually very interesting and worth going to, especially if you live in that area. So Bella Vista had the airport before Bentonville did. And actually, when I was growing up, Walmart was flying out of the Rogers Airport, and which is why they really made sure that XNA got built. Well, not why, they outgrew it. And I heard at one time when I was like teenager or 20s that Walmart flights, the number of takeoffs and landings would have made them like the number 12 airline in the country. As far as, they have a lot of planes, or had a lot of planes at least. I don't know now. Okay, another one is, can you name a resort from like around 1920? A major resort that was bringing in people in Benton County. Okay, Fayetteville people, I definitely give you a break, but Montenay was one. It's now under water. It's under Beaver Lake. And by the way, when I went to Hobbs, I found out that I'm older than Beaver Lake. It's like, you hear of people older than dirt. I'm older than a lake because it was like 64 or something when it finally was like officially a lake. So anyway, that's now under a lake, but you can find out a lot about it in the Rogers Historical Museum. This was a someone who had his own kind of following. I wouldn't call it a cult, but his own following, and based on getting rich, I think. And it was a major resort. But another major resort at the time was Bella Vista. And Bella Vista was created to get people, basically help people from Texas escape the heat, and Oklahoma, because this was before air conditioning. And so they bring them up to the mountains of Arkansas, and where things were cool, and it would be like going to the Catskills in New York or something. So that's how Bella Vista started, and then it was purchased by Cooper, who developed it. And Texas and Oklahoma got air conditioning. So they turned around and looked at Chicago and Indiana and said, you know, it's warmer here in winter, and you can retire where you don't get as much snow. So they started marketing up to there. Now, my first job out of college was laying out subdivision lots in Bella Vista. So, but anyway, that's where they would draw from for Bella Vista. And it was all, here's your retirement home. And you can make it a vacation home until you're ready to retire. And then you've got it paid for. You've got all these golf courses, and you've got all this stuff that other people are retired around you. Life is going to be wonderful. And then that generation kind of dissipated. I don't know what you would say. And now it's becoming a mountain bike community, because Bella Vista is much more rugged than Pea Ridge, Rogers, Bentonville. And the mountain bikes are loving it. And it's also much more affordable because these houses have been around since the 60s, 70s, 80s. And so you're buying older homes and renovating them at a much less price than, okay, downtown Bentonville is just out of reach for most people. So it's really kind of interesting, and they have elementary schools, which shocked me when I moved back here a couple of years ago, that Bella Vista and elementary schools just didn't go together. But now it's small, young families that are really moving into Bella Vista.
Oh, is it more of the younger generation than the older?
I would say mixed. Yeah. Yeah, it is, it used to be only older generation. And it's not that way now. So it is an interesting evolving. Yeah. Also, let's see, of these three people who gave a presentation, we're at 2:57, one more. Of these three people, who gave a presentation inside the Victory Theater in downtown Rogers? So, I'm trying to think of the woman that was the, she was very much against drinking. And Carrie Nation. Okay, let's say Carrie Nation, Babe Ruth, Will Rogers. Yeah, I just went to Claremore where he was born. Will Rogers did a presentation there, like a one-man show, and he was like one of the top people in Hollywood. When it came to stars, he was cream of the crop. Everybody adored him. He did marry a woman from Arkansas. His wedding was in, a woman from Rogers. His wedding was in Rogers on Main Street in a house, a little towards the lake. And so he had Rogers ties. But he dropped everything for like 6 weeks during the Dust Bowl to do a fundraiser for the states affected by the Dust Bowl. And when he went to Rogers, it was like a quick show in the morning, and then he did one in Fayetteville, and then he did one in Fort Smith, which means he had to be flying between the three. And he was friends with, I'm blanking out, the guy that he actually ended up dying in a plane crash with this pilot, but a very famous pilot who flew a lot. So the only way I could figure out that in the 1920s that you could get from Rogers to Fayetteville to Fort Smith and do anything in the meantime is you had to fly. But anyway, I just think that's very admirable because he didn't have to do that. You know, he had more than enough money and things going on, and he just really found 6 weeks of his life to raise money. And can you imagine being a kid out in the field in rural Arkansas and this plane flying overhead? That would just make your year, you know? So anyway, that was cool. So that was some of the trivia. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you have questions and answers?
I just wonder, when you were initially coming up with your list, did you come up with more than 100 and you had to narrow it down? Or did you
It's-
have trouble just coming up with 100?
It really was kind of trouble coming up with, it's easy to come up with the first 80. And so, actually, it's more like 124 when you consider what's combined. So I would do like the two of the bookstores and then listing bookstores to the side. And things like that. But it was fun to be able to do things that wouldn't have paid for any kind of advertising. Like the Master Gardener plant sale is in here. The Friendly Bookstore, which is the most amazing library bookstore. It's not even attached to the library, it's blocks away. It's a freestanding, it used to be an old medical clinic, and it's got like 6 rooms of books and then the big area in the middle full of books too. So you go down this wing to get to fiction, and you go here to go get art and travel, and in this room you get gardening and cooking. They have like 7 full bookcases of cookbooks. Bet you can get $2 to $6. It really is a fun place. But yeah, it was, towards the end, it was getting a little hard. And also, nobody paid to be in the book. So all those meals and everything had to come out of my pocket. And I got very few things that were free. So like the Big on Bentonville tour, which is wonderful and really worth going to, I was able to visit Bentonville, told me I could jump on one of those tours. And there were a couple things like that, but all the meals, which is why I never been to the Preacher's Son. But I've been to Conifer, and that's amazing. We have 2 or 3 James Beard nominees in Bentonville.
I was thinking while this was going on, in planning, it would be nice to maybe see a few menus and times and schedules, you know, when they're open, when they're not open. But you said you wanted us to go to their website to get all that, yeah.
Because so many things change and get out of date, like Conifer changes almost monthly on their menus. And the thing is, too, that a couple of these things are closed now. One store closed last week. That happens in every book. It's just the way it goes. And a friend of mine who did the state of Kansas, she said the first page had closed by the time it came from the printers. And of course, they're not going to tell you we're probably going to close down. Nobody's going to say that to you. Sweet Freedom cheese, I kept in there even though I knew at the last minute they would be closing because they lost the lease. But they were so unique and so wonderful that I thought they would end up somewhere else. And I think now she is at not Fresh Market, the store at Whole Foods. So, excuse me. If you want a book, it is $18. And with tax, it's almost exactly $20, which makes it easier on you and me. So if you want change, I'll give you a quarter back. I mean, if that matters to you, but I think it's pretty much right at 20. Okay, and then also in the back, you'll find these cards, and the QR code will go right to my website. And then the back is a listing of different museums in the area and things I consider museums. which may be a stretch for some people, but I got to vote. So, okay. Thank you. This looks like my